He cannot talk. He's in nappies. He cannot dress himself. He cannot feed himself.
Her age and her body is getting older, but her mind is still the mind of a child.
When I was pregnant with her, the doctor told me that I'm carrying a cabbage baby.
When she gets frustrated or something, it's a learned behaviour, but it's also self-stimulation. She hits her face.
For young adults, turning 18 opens a world of opportunities. But the arrival of a person's 18th birthday does not mark a happy occasion for everyone. Helen Emslie is a mother of 18-year-old Dan, who is severely intellectually challenged.
He was born with brain damage, and he's been severely mentally handicapped since then. He can't think for himself at all. He has to have somebody with him 24/7. So it's like I've had a baby in the house for 18 years.
Like every other child, Dan craves company. Helen goes out of her way to give Dan a social life.
You know, loves going to the shopping, loves shops, loves people, sitting at home doing nothing. Promise you he would die very quickly.
In Igoli Township, East London, Rhoda Banks lives with her 22-year-old daughter, Tammy.
Tammy was born mentally retarded. They wanted to abort the child, and I refused. I said, no, that's in God's hands. He won't give me a cross too heavy to carry. Well, she's very loving with everybody, but at the same time she can be very aggressive. Usually, like when you tell her to do something and she's frustrated and she says she doesn't want to do it, then she just punches anything. She fisted the window and it cut her. That's why she's like this.
Intellectually challenged people need constant care. Belinda van Wyk has a 19-year-old daughter, Verne, who stays at home with her caretaker, Caroline.
For some reason, she does not switch off. Since baby, she has never slept in an afternoon. She only sleeps at night and only when you take her to bed. I sleep on this side, Verne in the middle, and Vernon on the side.
Verne needs extra facilities because of her limited movement. She needs assistance getting in and out of the bath. The family has even started building a pulley system to help her move from the toilet to the bath. Belinda bakes out of her kitchen to earn money to fund this and other special needs expenses. Besides this, Belinda also has a day job in order to pay for expenses and Verne's medical aid.
Wow. Spectacles!
Having an intellectually challenged child can be a struggle. It is no different for Ruth Doyle and her 16-year-old daughter, Candice.
Within the first few months, we realised there was a problem with her, and she was diagnosed initially at 3 months with optical dysplasia syndrome. We were told that she was blind, and on that same journey, when she was 5 months old, she was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. She only started walking on her own when she was about 7 years old, but with very little balance. When she gets frustrated or something, it's a learned behaviour, but it's also self-stimulation. She hits her face. So she slaps herself hard.
Although there might be difficulties having an intellectually challenged child, there are institutions to look after them, such as Parklands Special School, which is government subsidised. However, once they turn 18, they are forced to leave the school.
The waiting list coming from the bottom is so huge that we very seldom can keep them over the age of 18.
This leaves the parents in a predicament. Who will look after their children once they turn 18?
I'm going to have to be financially responsible for him till he's 80. He's going to have no skills or anything to look after himself. And there is no place for me to send him. So I don't know what's going to happen to him when I'm gone. I financially can afford to look after my child. I financially can afford, I'm in that percentage, that echelon of society where I have an extended family, he has siblings, he has this, and we will do everything in our power to make ends meet. But I'm in the 1%. You know, got 3 maids that help me.
However, Helen is the exception. Costs include care facilities, therapists, caretakers, and nappies that cost R1,000 per month. Rhoda eventually managed to get a disability grant for Tammy, yet she struggles and has to leave Tammy at home alone.
I've tried to take her to another place that they call the workbench. And at the workbench, I've had problems. I've had problems like the men taking her to the toilet and wanting to have sex with her. The second time she came back with a love bite on the neck, and I just sit up to me, and I just stopped sending her over there.
Rhoda is not the only one with financial troubles. Belinda has been trying to get a disability grant for Verne.
When you hear your child is disabled, it's a process you need to go through. You need to accept the fact. You need to move on. And going back to the clinic, it was like reliving that again. Going back to the beginning, explaining exactly what happened to my child, what's wrong with my child. And all I'm asking is this little 1,000 rand that the government needs to give me to assist.
She wants this grant so that she can send Verne to Canaan Care Centre. This centre, run by Ruth, offers a place for over 18s to socialise, one of the only in the Eastern Cape. A tour of the building shows facilities vital to the needs of intellectually challenged people. There are various activities to stimulate and entertain. However, Canaan barely manages to cover its costs, which are 50,000 rand a month. As a result, the fees are high and few can enjoy this facility.
Unfortunately, I can only send Verne 3 times a week, half a day, because that is all I can afford.
So what happens to families that cannot afford to go to places like Canaan Care Centre? The only other option is to get a government grant, which has proved to be a rigmarole. Most people hit dead ends.
It took me like 2 years.
From the 10th of January up until the 2nd of April, nobody can tell me what happened to the application.
I must go back to the doctor. The doctor will fill in those forms.
Only to get a gentleman on the line that refused to speak to me because I'm not the applicant of the grant.
It's either lost or there's some documents that are missing.
She's got the mentality of about a 3-year-old child, so there's no ways that he will be able to have a conversation with her.
And then they'll tell me the papers are lost.
Again, he insisted that he needed to speak to the child.
Speaking to the government is as hard as it seems. No spokespeople were available or even willing to speak to us. When we went to SASA, where the grants are handled, the manager would not speak to us, although people in the queues were more than willing.
Yesterday we were here, we were sitting the whole day here. And then some of us were sent home. Because why? They couldn't finish us. We came back today, they're still telling us there are only 2 people there working here. How can it be 2 people working? There were a lot of people.
However, we were quickly asked to leave.
We can't allow you to do this. Okay. Yeah? Wait, can you come with me, please? Yeah.
Unfortunately, it is as difficult to get an explanation as it is to get a grant. So what does the future hold for these people?
I worry, especially when we hear about all the things that happen around. Like this child that was over the news, a mentally retarded child that was raped by 7 men.
What happens to them when their parents are no longer around? Who then cares for them? Is it the siblings' responsibility? Should it be? I don't think so. But what do you do? How do you make provision for that?
They haven't asked to be what they are. God just gave them to us, and all we need to do is to give them the best. And unfortunately, I don't know why he sometimes gives them to people that don't have money. Because if I had money, I would have given her the best life possible. But all I can give her is my love, because that's all we have.
They're saying that at 18 their responsibility is over, you see. And what we're saying is that, no, your responsibility should still be helping. We're not saying paying for it all, but you should be subsidizing.
With what appears to be an uninvolved government, the lives of intellectually challenged people seem uncertain. Perhaps a patchwork solution is ideal, involving community and government. Only in this way can the difficulties of having an intellectually challenged child be reduced.